What if identity is a trap? What if the thing keeping you from awakening spiritually is your identity? Now, if we think about life from the perspective of multiple lifetimes, then each lifetime would have its own identity. And that is totally appropriate. That's the purpose, or one of the big purposes of having the lifetime, is to immerse yourself in that identity, that temporary identity, and make sense of your life. So in every lifetime, you might have a gender, a nationality, you have a certain height, you have a certain look, you have a certain intelligence level, political philosophy, whatever. And my point is not to negate that, or that that's a big problem. My point is that if you are seeking to awaken spiritually, if you are seeking to ascend, part of the ascension process is going to be to upgrade your identity to include more than the current life identity. And so there is the next higher level of identity, and that would be the identity of the soul, the thing that non-physical part of you that incarnates, reincarnates. And so your next stage of identity will be to identify as that thing that you are. And I don't think it really stops there. I think it's kind of infinite. But from here, I think that's the best next step, and to try to go beyond that to, let's say, oversoul. We can ponder those thoughts, but really we would need to get very established in the identity of soul before doing that. So when I do past life regression hypnosis on my clients, we go through a past life, and then more often than not, we go through the death and the afterlife, part of the afterlife at least. And what's interesting is that normally when people report a death in a past life, it's the typical, they float out of the body, they see the body there. And usually they're no longer that identity. Now, this is not to negate the identity. It's just like if you look at a picture of yourself when you were 5 years old, well, that 5-year-old is not your identity, but you also recognize yourself in the 5-year-old. Same thing with past lives. Or the afterlife. You recognize that body that you just left as you're looking down on it as an aspect of you, an experience that you went through, but now you realize a bigger identity, a soul level identity. You're right in that. Spiritual ascension, to me, is all about this upgrade of identity. And this upgrade does not destroy your current identity. It just puts the center of focus a little bit higher. Now, as you deal with things in your life, your current identity is going to be necessary to whatever degree. It's just that there might be more than that involved in your identity. You might have the identity of you in this body, in this lifetime, and concurrently you have the identity of the soul who chose this body in this lifetime for a specific purpose, and some of the wisdom, the knowledge of that soul is now available to this temporary egoic identity. And that's a great thing. That gives us intuition. It gives us guidance. It gives us an alignment with our life purpose. So think about, just imagine identifying as your soul, as that non-physical aspect of you who lives many lives, and imagine being in that identity. Be in that with your meditation. Be that as you contemplate your life, and just start to work with the idea of not seeing everything through the identity of your temporary ego that's based in this body. Start to think about what things would look like from this other perspective. As I always say, you are your soul, and your soul is not somewhere else. It's right there with you. It is you. And your ego, your body, your mind, all of that is you also. It's just one small part of you. But you have other dimensions. You have other ways of looking at things. And it's very useful to do that. It also makes navigating this life in this body much easier when we see things from a larger perspective. And so I invite you to contemplate that. And when you get in difficult situations, kind of look at it through both lenses. Look at it through the lens of your ego, your current identity, and then ask yourself, what does this look like from the level of my soul? And try to look at it from that. And you'll find that as you do this, you'll be able to have both identities working simultaneously. And it's like if you look through a periscope, if you look through just one thing, like a telescope or whatever, versus looking through binoculars. The binoculars give you a more depth of vision. The telescope, periscope, right, gives you a flatter image. You're going to want to look at things through both lenses simultaneously and see things in that way, and then just notice what happens. It's not about detaching from your ego. It's just about realizing that your ego has its place, but you are more than that. And in that way, your current temporary egoic identity will not hold back your ascension process, your spiritual development. Thank you so much for listening, and please like, share, and subscribe. Bye-bye.